Thank you, everyone, once again. Welcome, Darian Folaketemi. So, Use and Tech is a platform where we help women transition into tech seamlessly. We also debunk the myth that technology is all about coding and development. And of course, the men also join us. So far, we've helped women across 17 countries transition from different roles such as medical, laboratories, pharmacies, various backgrounds, entrepreneurs, stay-at-home moms. We've also helped legal consultants transition into tech, and we've helped them add an extra $1.5 million to their salary by the virtue of quality jobs that they've been able to apply to. um One of the questions we receive is, what is tech sales? A lot of people don't know that technology companies have products that they sell, and they're very aggressive when it comes to sales. A lot of people do not have this information. So we thought to bring in Dami. Dami is a tech sales consultant in Microsoft. I'll allow Glory take it up from here. She's going to bring on Dami, and she's going to do a proper introduction. Thank you. Network is. Hello, Glory. Your network is bad. Okay, so I'll just take it up. I'll take it up, don't worry. Okay, so a brief background about Dami. Our role is to help and advise technology companies adopt the right technology through analytics, social, and mobile, basically digital transformation. Aside working in Oracle, Dami has worked with Microsoft. She has also worked across countries such as Nigeria, Dubai, Ireland. She's a goal-driven lady, and recently she won a gold club medal. That's huge in a very sophisticated and fast-paced environment. That's really huge. And then we also heard that Dami is going to be the upcoming speaker of today. So we are going to introduce Dami. Dami, please go on. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Damilola. Well, you can just call me Dami, that's fine. As Bisola said, just a brief intro about myself. I currently work at Microsoft. I'm an account manager, and I cover currently corporate accounts for Ghana and Nigeria. It's quite a huge portfolio as well, but there's a lot of moving parts around it. Prior to now, I worked with Oracle as well, where I did a couple of things at Oracle, from account management to starting with business development, from sales. So it wasn't like I just jumped on, it was pretty much starting from the nitty-gritty of sales, which a lot of people will call business development, and over time grew into being an account manager. I'm based in Dublin currently, but I work with accounts in Africa, with a major focus on Ghana and Nigeria right now. And that has been on I've been working with Microsoft for about roughly 4 years. It's been an interesting journey, I would say. There are ups and downs, but as you know, or I can say, sales can be challenging and it can be fun at the same time. So you just need to find a balance around it, really. Yeah, thank you. So.
All right. So, Dami, what were you doing before you joined Oracle? And did you study computer engineering? Did you do anything tech in school before you joined Oracle?
Okay, so did I study? Let me start from what I studied. I didn't study anything that has to do with IT. I have a background in industrial relations and human resources. So a lot of people would ask me, so how did you find yourself in sales? How did you find yourself in tech? While I was in uni, I just had a nerd and a thing for IT. And there was this Google internship, well, Google ambassadorship, that's what it's called, for students. So you go on and apply for it, and you're like a Google representative on campus. So you're like working for Google basically on your campus. Out of all that applied, so this was the second, at the time, that was the second phase of this program that Google had initiated in Nigeria at the time. And out of all the people that applied, there were 3 that were selected. Had initiated in Nigeria at the time, phase of this program that Google. I think I can hear myself. Okay. And because I had done some certifications, so I'd done some certifications around customer relations management, CRM at the time. And, they just want to know if you're passionate about IT, which I was at the time, to be honest. And I am still passionate about IT. And I think that helped, up my application and, all that I had to write, because we had to write like an essay, just to sell yourself, basically. And I was selected. I was the only non-technical / engineering / computer science person that was on board. We're about 12 in the whole of Nigeria. For my school, we're 3. The other guys were computer engineering and computer science students. And I think that was where my journey really started from, if I would say. I moved on to work with a recruitment firm, which I don't want to mention their name right now. And because I had a background in HR, I think that helped me. So we're doing telesales. So it was me doing sales alongside HR. And I think that helped me with my process at Oracle. So for Oracle, I didn't want to do the core sales. So I had firstly applied for a pre-sales, which is a bit of technical, but of course I didn't have a technical background. I didn't know a lot of nitty-gritty things that I didn't qualify, to be honest. Left to me, I just kept saying, you're learning, we're still undergraduate or graduates, and it's still a learning process. So I just said as a learning process, to be honest, but well, I didn't qualify. But all those applications you apply for, but deep down you don't qualify for it. So I'd applied the first year, I didn't get in. The second year, I respected myself and applied for sales. And I got in. And basically, that was how my journey into sales began. It was a lot of learning process for me, because that was like my first time of really doing core sales and IT sales. And I think one of the things that really helped me was I will call them mentors, but I had good colleagues that I was working with. They knew, you're just coming on board, you need to learn. So they were willing to carry me along when they go for meetings, push me to work as well. They were challenging days, but you learn from those challenges as well. I didn't have targets officially, but I kind of gave myself targets, which kind of helped me as well on the role. And I think at the end of the program, my work kind of like spoke for itself, because I moved on to getting another role in Oracle Dubai. And that has been the journey really from then, just keep moving and keep moving and keep moving.
Thank you, Dami, for the brief intro. So as a tech sales consultant, what exactly do you do? What exactly do you do? Do you just go around seeking for leads, or there's a process that it's involved in the technology industry?
So I would say it's moving parts depending on what your role is. So I would start with my current role. With my current role, I have accounts that I manage, and I can sell out of my account. So I can manage a customer which is not on my list that I'm given at the beginning of the financial year. And I have a team of eight men that I work with. So what we do, and their numbers are all tied to my numbers. So each of them has a number. that they carry, and all their numbers are my number. So if one part is lacking, then I'm not going to meet my number. So what I do currently is, in as much as I have a sales target, I need to make my customer happy as well. I need to make sure my accounts are properly managed, irrespective of what solution it is my guys are working at selling in those accounts. I need to make sure that they're getting value from this solution. So you just don't want to sell and move on, because it's going to haunt you. That's the honest truth. You come back someday to want to sell to this customer and they will tell you, I never heard from you, or I'm not using the solution, or you just sold me something and collected money and left. So you want to be in the face of a customer and make sure that you're not just selling the product, you're selling value as well to the customer. In terms of, do I get leads? Well, yes. So we have a tool that generates leads for us. But because I've been working in this market for a while, I'm pretty much ahead of the tool, if I can say, because I talk to my customers quite often. So I will know, or I have an insight into what they are doing. So usually when they give me an account, say at the beginning of the FY, if it's a new account or an account that I've been working with before, I would naturally have like an account planning session with the customer to say, hey, this year, what are you guys looking at doing? What's your 5-year plan? What's your 10-year plan? How can we work together in this? It might not be a solution that Microsoft sells. It might be a solution that one of our partners sell. And, I can tell, oh, okay, I can refer you to 1 or 2 solutions that, I think would fit into your needs and help you with your business. But are there teams within Microsoft as well that specifically work with guys that have to generate leads for them? Yes, we have teams as well, and they're salespeople, but it's just that my part of the business is managed. So I don't particularly I need to go look for my opportunities myself. But there are people within sales generally. And like when I was in Oracle, we had to do everything. So you would have to go look for new leads yourself, do discovery calls. So you have to go through the process, literally do discovery calls, sell yourself to the customer, sell the solution to the customer, create a need, not necessarily create a need, but find out what the need of the customer is, and then you can tie your solution into it. If it needs, customers they will always have needs. Even when they tell you they don't have a need, you probably just have to ask the right questions to get them to open up to you. So I think basically that's it. I carry numbers. I have numbers that I have to meet. I have targets that I have to meet. I have to make my customers happy, because the way Microsoft is worked, so they have like this survey thing they send out to customers. So you're not even going to know which of the customers you're going to send it to. So that's why you really have to make your customers happy, because when they send the survey to your customer and your customer feels that they are not satisfied, it makes you look bad. So you have to make sure your customers are satisfied with your account management process, with what you're selling to them, with the value you're driving into their accounts. Make sure they're using the solution. And what has helped me over time, I would say as well, is with my relationship, I think I've gotten to some level that my customers trust me. And in sales, trust is something that is really key, trust and integrity. Because if your customer doesn't trust you, then what are you doing really? So you need to build on that for them to know that, okay, I have a problem. This is my go-to person. I've had customers that would refer or send people to me and say, hey, Demi, there's this marketing company that reached out to me. He didn't have to do it. He didn't have anything to do with Microsoft, but he's reached out to me to say, hey, look up this guy and let me know what you think, or if you think Microsoft can partner with them as well. And that was built from, trust that, we've grown over time. He's held me accountable. He knows I'm someone reliable that he can speak with when it comes to things like this.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dami, for Thank you, Dami, for that. So I would like to ask, what type of products does Microsoft have, and what type of products do they sell? And then when it comes to your partners and the organizations you intend to sell the product to? Do you just say, oh, we have this particular product for sale, come and buy, or you come from the position of value and how it's going to transform the organization?
Okay, so Microsoft has a lot of solutions. There's a whole lot of list, but I will just break it out in the pillars. So they have 4 major pillars. Yeah, in terms of solutions now, 4 major pillars, which the first pillar is modern work. So modern work you would have things like Office 365, which a couple of people should be aware of. So you have things like Office 365, Teams, there are security licenses as well. Under Office 365, you have things like Outlook, PowerPoint, Excel, and a whole lot of others. Collaborative tools, basically productivity and collaborative tools. Under data and AI, so basically you have ADS. So when you're looking at things around data warehouse, backend technology infrastructure, middleware solutions, all of that falls under data and infrastructure. You have the application infrastructure, which you have the Azure. This might be really technical words, especially if you're not familiar with Microsoft, but they're all backend solutions. So Azure, for example, it's like a foundation of where your solution, or if you have a business application, you can have it placed on it. So you basically have it hosted on it. So it's like you're building a house and you need a foundation. So the foundation is the Azure, and then you bring your application, your business application on it, or whatever application it is. Then we have the business application side. So business application, which would include solutions like HR solution, some customer relations solution, ERP solutions, and a whole lot of others. They sell devices as well. Microsoft produces devices like Surface, but I don't sell Surface. There's a separate team that sells Surface, but I basically just focus on software solutions and no hardware. I think your second question was what again? Sorry, sir.
Yeah, how to sell yourself. How to sell the products. How to sell the
Okay.
you come from the position of value, or you come from, hey, I have Azure. Would you guys like to buy Azure?
Okay, so if you go with, hey, I have Office 365, come and buy, trust me, they're not going to buy, because they will tell you, well, I have Google, why do I have to buy that? Or we're fine with the solution that we're using currently. There's a whole lot of solution outside. So if you're going in, you have to basically go in your best foot to say, hey, for example, one thing I'll do with my customers is, for Office 365, it's quite easy to sell because almost everybody has Outlook. Not everybody, but almost everybody's familiar with Outlook and everybody's using Outlook. But there are still upsellings that I have to do. So the business will still expect me to go in there and sell more to my customers. So how do I sell more to my customers in that situation? For example, you have Office 365, but do you have any security solution that is attached? You're vulnerable. Someone can send a link to an employee in your organization and the person will click on it. And that's how a perpetrator will get into your organization. Before you know, they wipe off your money. So definitely I will go in through selling value and not just selling the products, because if you go in selling the product, that's like a fail literally from the beginning. So you sell the product, try to understand, okay, from a security point of view, for example, are you guys secured? You ask probing questions as well to get the customer talking. Because you just don't want to go and say, oh, I have the solution, I know it meets your needs. You don't know if the customer has a solution in that line already. The solution might not be as strong as Microsoft's solution, but I still need to get you talking to tell me I have a solution or I don't even have anything. And then we can take the conversation from there. So I ask you probing questions. I get you to a comfort level before I can get to start saying, okay, by the way, most times when I even sell solutions or when we get sell solutions to our customer, we probably will not mention the name, for example, like an Azure. We will talk about, okay, you have a website. Where is your website hosted? On what platform do you have it hosted? Is it a secured platform? And then I start to sell the value and the benefits of Azure to you before I even mention, oh, it's Azure I'm selling to you. So we come from the place of value and the benefits for the customer.
That's amazing. Thank you, Dami, for that. And then one other question, and it's not like a question, but I would like you to share the compensation. A lot of people don't know that the sales consultants are the
I saw the
biggest
1 million.
boys.
I don't know about that though.
They are the biggest boys in the technology industry. Everybody wants to code, and they don't know that when Dami closes a sales deal, she can get as much as $10 million.
I don't know about $10 million though.
Depending on how big the size, the deal of the size is. So can you speak more on that? Because I know that back in Oracle, once you close a deal, you could just go on a yacht, and
I
then
know what you mean.
you just tell
How
you to
about you
enjoy
you need to meet the
yourself.
target as well.
Yeah, you also need to meet your targets. So can you tell us more about that, and then also the recent award you got?
Okay, so money in sales is good. Trust me, when you're selling, you're sleeping well at night, your bank account is resting well, you feel on top of the world, you can buy whatever, you don't care. But you have some not very good days as well. So it's like I said at the beginning, sales can be very challenging, but at the same time fun, because it comes with a lot of, you meet people, there's a whole lot going on, But from the compensation and monetary point of view, there's a whole lot of money that can be made from sales. That's the honest truth, because you have your take home salary that you get every month, and depending on how the company's compensation plan is structured. While I was at Oracle, you get compensated per deal you close. At Microsoft is a bit different because we get paid, we get paid for compensation on a quarterly basis. And because I don't focus on selling just one product, so I focus on selling those 4 products that I mentioned earlier. And for each of the products, I have a percentage attached to them. So the more I sell, the more money I would make. But I will tell you for sure, sales, you get good money in sales. Trust me, like you will get good money in sales. If you're looking for where to get money in sales, of course, in tech, you will get good money. You're mute.
Okay, and then tell us about the recent award you got. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so for the recent award I got, it was so I think this doesn't just have to do with sales as well. Generally, whatever organization you find yourself, whatever thing you find yourself doing. Because a huge part of my award, so a part of it had to obviously do with my sales part of the business, but a huge part of it didn't come from, my day-to-day KPI. So I was involved in driving the diversity and inclusion initiative for Middle East and Africa. And there were a couple of things we did, especially during the pandemic and lockdown, just to get people engaged, driving, diversity and inclusion in the organization. So that was where a major part of my award came from, alongside the fact that, you need to have overachieved your targets, at least not just once. So it's been a recurrence. There's been a recurrence here for the past more than 2 FYs. So in Microsoft, they expect you doing 100% is like, okay, you've just done your job. There's nothing exceptional out of that. So how do you tend to prove yourself as an exceptional person? You need to be able to overachieve your target. And then, what are you contributing to the organization, aside from the fact that, oh yes, you're meeting your numbers, or you're doing your KPIs, your customers are okay, there's no serious issues with your customers, your customer feedbacks are very good, and your customers are paying, they're using the solution as well, because we actually we have a part of our target that has to do with how your customers are using your solution. So if they're not using it, you don't get paid from that part of your KPI. So it came from, you know, driving my business, overachieving my targets, and then, you know, initiatives that I ran with from a diversity and inclusion point of view.
Yeah, that brings me back to the one of the points we always share in class to our students, that sometimes you could get the hard skills, which is being able to implement technology, or technology, but sometimes the most important skill that can make you exceptional at your place of work is your soft skills, such as collaborative, being creative. And if you have all of these skills, you can actually bring it from your old role, you can bring it to your
Mhm.
current role. So that means you are currently in Ireland, and a lot of our Nigerians want to relocate. Right. So you're in Ireland, but you're controlling accounts in Nigeria and Ghana. So how does it work for people who want to, get to this level? What would be your advice? Because I know that there's the EMEA region, where there's Europe, there's Middle East and Africa. So because I know Justina is here, she wants to get into tech sales. So, would you be able to advise us based on how we can get into such roles?
Okay, so one of the things we did last year, which, you know, was a major part of the award I got as well, was because we realized there was a gap
Yeah.
in women in tech sales. For example, for a large chunk of last year, I was the only lady in my team. So I literally was working with a team of guys. My team, meaning the people that report to my manager now, not the people that I work with when it comes to managing my accounts. And one of the things my manager and I did was, we knew, okay, so there was a vacancy and he wanted to get someone on board. And my director told him, please, I want someone like Dami, aside from the fact that I want a woman. So in as much as there might be all of the fact that the company is saying, let's get more women into tech. They might have a slot to say, okay, this is our KPI to get 2 women this year into the organization. But the honest truth is, even as women, we need to come in with our A games, because most of these organizations will not compromise on the fact that, okay, yes, we're trying to drive diversity, bring in a lot of women into sales. If they don't find the right resource that they want, they will just, bend back. So one thing my manager and I had done was try to source out for CVs of people that, fit into the criteria and, that had the requirements of what he was looking for that role. And so if someone is leaving the team, they don't have to wait until the person has left before they get someone. But what I would generally tell people that want to get into tech sales, for example, it might not necessarily Ireland, it could be anywhere, is make sure your personal branding is important. How you put yourself as well is important. How your CV is drafted is very important. What skills do you have on there? Personally, what skills have you learned? For someone like me, I think the little things that I was doing right from when I was in uni, there was a day I sat down and I thought about it. I'm like, literally, I think that's what has helped me here. I did telesales at some point, even though I didn't really know I was doing telesales, because left to me, I thought I was doing recruitment, but it was over the phone. And that helped me get one of my jobs. What I did while I was in uni, I did some IT trainings, not coding related, just IT, higher level trainings from an IT point of view. I'd done all of that as well. That helped me, because if you want to get into tech sales in IT, you don't want to go in without the knowledge of IT, anything that has to do with tech. You need to know some things. They don't expect you to know the whole solution, but at least have an idea of certain things. Even if you're getting into a Microsoft, for example, you don't have to have done a Microsoft certification. For me, for one, before I joined Microsoft, I didn't have any Microsoft certification. Yes, I had other certifications that I'd done, but I didn't have a Microsoft certification. As well, you can do some sales trainings that would help, networking trainings that would help. And then just be on the lookout for jobs that are willing to relocate people as well. Look out for those roles. For my team, for example, the team used to be in Dubai and they moved here to Ireland. And they moved here to Ireland because they were moving the whole EMEA team to Ireland. So in the company or in my office, you would see people that sell into Eastern Europe, Western Europe, everywhere literally within Europe, Middle East, and then Africa. So we're all encompassed in one office, selling into different countries. So you just need to be on the lookout for specific roles that fit into what you're looking for, and not just applying for generic roles. For example, you don't know how to speak Spanish, and then you're applying for, okay, no, don't let me say Spanish. You don't know how to speak Portuguese, and then you're applying for a role in Angola. That's going to be really hard because most of the people in Angola speak Portuguese, So how do you want to sell to that person? So you need to look out for countries or roles that fit into your skills as well. But building yourself to be marketable is very key. And for recruiters to be able to say, okay, this is a kind of skill that, I think will fit into into this vacancy that we have.
Yeah, thank you, Dami, for that. So we'll be running out of time, but we can always join back. So because I'm getting some questions here already, and I would like Dami to attend them. But the last question I would like to ask is, how does it feel to be the only woman amongst men on your team? How does it feel? Because that is what we are trying to fight against at Use and Tech, and not just about women filling up development roles, because I believe those are back end. Well, how does it feel, and how can how can we close the gap?
So I actually didn't even realize it until someone mentioned it, to be honest, because I was just doing my work. But I think you being authentic to yourself and building your brand speaks a lot about you. You need to be able to speak for yourself. Are there times where, I feel someone is trying to be egoistic because I'm a lady? Oh yes, I've had those times. But the honest truth is you need to be able to stand for yourself. Your brand would naturally speak for you. Authenticity, your authentic self. You need to be your authentic self as well. It's been a good one, I would say, to be honest. Maybe I'm lucky to have the guys I work with. They're a very supportive set of people as well. So everybody knows, and we kind of hold ourselves accountable as well. So you know what you're supposed to do. Please don't drop the ball, because if you drop the ball, it affects everyone automatically. And then we just hold ourselves responsible and accountable. Keeping your head high up there is very important, because you don't want someone coming to ride on you just because you're a lady now. Face up, chin up, do your thing, know yourself, know your worth, know your business, be able to speak for yourself, let your work as well speak for you. So you need to be on your A game. When it's time to have fun, of course, have fun. When it's time to do the work, and don't get things muddled up so no one takes you for granted.
Thank you. Thank you, Dami, for that. So someone asked the question. Tolilokpa is saying, how do we know the jobs that can make one relocate? Although I know they state it on the job description, but maybe Dami can also answer such questions. So please, if you have any question, please drop it in the chat box so that we can start addressing it.
So jobs that would make you relocate, well, I would speak for sales and tech sales. They would naturally put it there, because you don't want to come to a country where, for example, if you're coming here, you need someone to sponsor your visa. Even back when I was in Dubai as well, you need an employer to sponsor your visa, except you're going into the country to study, and then you tend to look for a job afterwards or while in school. But if you're coming in from a different country and you want to get into a different country or a new country entirely, It would be good to be on the lookout for jobs that would say, we're willing to fund your relocation, because you would need a work permit to be able to work in any country you want to go work in. If you're not a citizen or you don't have a residency there.
All right, thank you so much. Does any other person have questions, or we can just call it a day? Justina, do you have any question? Tolulope has answered the questions already. Has asked the question already.